All right, so we have 0 eyeballs right now. Let's see what happens in a few seconds.
Right. Hey, everybody.
There we go.
Intro.
Hey, guys. Thanks for joining.
Hey, people are logging on.
Thanks for watching, Alex.
Yeah.
Very sick.
All right, we're going to give it a few minutes to let people get online, find the stream. But it looks like people are starting to log on, so that's good. Yeah, so this is basically our virtual version of Society Member Monday, now known as Society Socials on Tuesday, and we're doing it online. So we have all right, people are starting to come on. So we played this cool video at the beginning just because we wanted to. So I'm going to do it again. Just
do it again.
And we made it.
I missed it. I would like to see it.
Yeah, we might as well show it. All right, let me pull that up. So let's pretend this is the beginning of the live stream. Here we go. Oh, wow. Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining us. Good to see you all. This is virtual happy hour for our Society Social. So thanks again for coming on, watching us. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk through all of the new releases for April. So quite a few beers coming out. And I guess to start things off, I'm just going to give a few updates on what's going on, what we have happening for the month. So tomorrow, Hoarders Society beers will be available in allocations. Thursday, they will be available for Reserve Society. And Wednesday, you'll see them available, or Friday, you'll see them available for Preservation Society. Outside of that, tomorrow, we're actually adding some new local delivery options. So starting tomorrow, we're adding Long Beach and Huntington Beach for local delivery. So you'll be able to order same day starting Saturday, but you can order now. So if you start ordering tomorrow, they'll be delivered Saturday, if that makes sense. And then after Saturday, it's same day local delivery. So starting Sunday, if you order, you'll grab your beers the same day, as long as it's before 2 p.m. Outside of that, we're also doing a new thing. We're trying it out. So starting tomorrow, we're going to tap like one kind of rare beer in the tasting rooms where you'll be able to order crowlers. So in your email tomorrow, on the West Coast, you'll be able to vote. So we'll pit two beers head to head. You guys vote. On Friday, we'll tap that crowler, and then you can order it for delivery and for pickup options. So that's most of the new stuff happening. And now most of these spaces you've seen before, you probably know them. I'm going to kick it over to Ethan first. So Ethan's joining us from DC for all our East Coast members. Ethan's going to kind of tell us about some of the new things happening in DC. And then he's also, well, first, who are you, Ethan? What do you do? I'm sure most of the East Coast members know you, but maybe the West Coast members don't. So
yeah, so as Daniel said, my name's Ethan. I started with the brewery back in 2015. Left the company after I moved to the East Coast, but was fortunate enough that the brewery decided to open the East Coast Outpost in 2017. So I came back to the family. Lucky me. So I'm the general manager of our East Coast shop. It's got a retail kind of component to it, but mainly it was brought to existence to be a fulfillment center for all of the society members that are on like the East Coast, or not really just like the East Coast, but anybody on the east side of the U.S. So we see people, from Michigan, a lot of people from New York, that whole area, New Jersey. We get folks coming up from Alabama, so really all over. So I am not tasting the new beers with these guys, but I am hanging out, relaxing. We do expect these beers to arrive in DC for any DC members that are listening on Thursday, 4/23. Those will be available for pickup and delivery. In the meantime, we do have some goodies kind of coming We're going to be hosting Equilibrium as a guest brewery pop-up. We're doing things a little bit differently this time around. Usually it's just kind of a first come, first serve, stand in line kind of thing. This year, kind of keeping it in the brewery spirit. We're actually putting it online. Now it's on the East Coast satellite web store, so that's www.dc.thebrewery.com. We're really asking people, don't form a line. Please don't come and stand in person. We're trying to do the socially responsible thing. But you can access that online at that website. You can do curbside pickup, or you can do delivery. We'll be delivering all over DC. Sorry, Northern Virginia. Sorry, Maryland. You got to be in the city limits. Again, that website, shameless plug, www.dc.thebrewery.com. So look for that. And then we're also in talks with a couple other guest breweries later on down the road. We're going to keep those under wraps until they're confirmed. So this coming weekend, EQ, the following weekend, our beer will get here. I got some new offshoot beer dropping, which I'm pretty excited about. So we'll see.
Awesome. Cool, man. Thanks. Looks like we're getting some East Coast love right now. I'm sure everybody knows most of these other faces, but in case you don't, let's just go around and start with Ryan, work our way around. Ryan, who are you? What do you do?
That question. I'm Ryan. I am the event specialist, and I have really been enjoying how many other uses I've had for the brewery recently during this crazy fucking time we're living in. So today I am your virtual happy hour. What am I doing? Am I driving? I'm driving the car. All right, so buckle up.
Buckle up. I'm Riley. I'm the quality assurance manager at the brewery. And basically what that means is I make sure that we have procedures and specifications in place throughout the production of beer to make sure that we make delicious beer up to our standards and make it the same every single time.
Hey guys, I'm Jeremy. Here to support our production department. I work hand in hand with Keith over there. Nope, over there. Darren, who I'm sure you guys know very well. Stefan, Andrew Bell, who's in queue waiting to come on. But as director of production, I basically support everybody else and make sure that we have the tools to make beers that we're trying so hard to finish. We have a lot of beers. Ethan?
Ethan already went. Let's move on to Keith.
What you got, Ethan?
What about Keith and?
Yeah. So I'm the production manager over at Tarur. So basically manage all of the sour and wild beers that come out of the brewery. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of challenges, but it's a good gig. And I definitely really wouldn't rather be doing anything else but making beer. So that's what I do. What about you, Moose?
Oh man, I talk for a few minutes on this thing, and then I introduce you guys, and then I jump off. So I'm gonna stay for the first beer, and then we have a few other faces that I think people want to see and hear from. So first beer we're drinking today is it's backwards, but yeah. So we're drinking Tart of Boysenberry. This one's gonna be available for hoarders tomorrow. It's going to go to Reserve Society Thursday, Preservation Society Friday, and then this one will actually hit the general public if you guys leave anything for them. But yeah, let's talk about this beer a little bit. I think Keith and Jeremy, let's start with Keith. Keith, tell us about this beer, man.
Sure, yeah. So this beer is a beer in a series that we call Frucht. It's basically our foeder aged Berliner Weiss. Anyone that's had it can tell that it's typically more sour than a traditional Berliner Weiss. That does come from more of an aging and more of a Solera process. So what we do is we have never emptied this foeder in about 4 years. We actually take down the barrel per se, which is a foeder, which is basically a giant barrel. Take that down to a percentage, and then put wort, which is basically beer before it's fermented. We put that into the foeders and let it ferment on basically dregs from previous batches. So it's a pretty interesting process. I don't really know of anyone doing that in the beer world with any beer. Maybe a few smaller breweries. Yeah, so then we let that age, take that beer out, and we put it on quite a few pounds of fruit from our farmer friends, right? And yeah, so the result here is a very juicy, very boysenberry-esque beer. So boysenberry is a fruit from Southern California. So it's really popular down here, and I know Jeremy did quite a few projects this year with some boysenberries, and we absolutely wanted to add it to Fruct base and just kind of showcase the fruit itself. So.
Well, yeah. So you guys may have noticed if you've watched the last few happy hours, there's a little bit of a boysenberry work happening lately. Here we have a cool question that I think Jeremy's a good answer for this, because we also have a question that I'm not going to pull up, but was bakery boysenberry, was that made for Knott's? So what are we doing with boysenberry? What's going on here? What do we think about boysenberry and beer? Tell us a little bit, Jeremy.
Yeah, actually, we did make that bakery boysenberry to pour exclusively at Knott's during their boysenberry festival, as well as our 2 tasting rooms. And unfortunately, obviously, with the COVID situation, Knott's has been closed, so the boysenberry beer that was destined for them is still destined for them, but you're unable to enjoy it at the park right now. That being said, it was a great pleasure to work with and make something for Knott's Berry Farm. I'm kind of looking at the screen here. We got a couple of us here are Southern California natives, and if you grew up in Southern California, you know what Knott's Berry Farm is, and you probably know what a boysenberry is. So Knott's Berry Farm popularized it, and it's a big Orange County berry. I mean, quite honestly, like it's the berry for Orange County, and this year you're going to see it a lot in several beers. And it's not just because it comes from Orange County; it's actually because it's well, personally, it's my favorite berry. But on top of that, it fits with how and where we're at, and it's got good flavor, and it finds its way into sour beers. And I think the bakery boysenberry stout, or baked boysenberry pie stout, you can get it currently from both DC and our tasting rooms here in Orange County. But it's phenomenal, and I'm really happy with the way it came out. That story, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have much more to say about boysenberry other than that.
No, that was good.
But boysenberries are cool, and they're fun. And,
They are really
Would
cool.
you would you say that you're not messing around with boysenberry beers?
We would not say that.
So we have another question that I don't know if we have a direct answer for it, but I think it's a good question in that maybe you can say what would you actually pair with this beer, fruit boysenberry? What does this go with? This is an open question. Any of you guys can give
Fried
it.
chicken.
Wait,
Maybe I'm reading.
Not fried chicken.
boysenberry or with the fried?
Yeah.
Looks like
So
fried.
this person's asking us for a pairing with fried chicken. I'm saying, what would you actually pair fruit boysenberry with?
French toast.
Damn. Okay.
Really?
That sounds good.
A caprese salad with a lot of mozzarella.
Crazy.
Still thinking about that.
I think
fried
It's
chicken.
not fried chicken. There's your answer. It's right there.
I think a calzone would go really well, personally.
Oh, yeah.
With boysenberry. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so what's our next beer, guys? What are we drinking next? There's lots of cheers coming in, but let's move on to the next beer.
Put a little TOD, huh?
Tart of Darkness. Okay, so
Little T.
It's back.
I'm gonna hand this off to Ryan. We're actually gonna pull on another brewer that we've been seeing quite a few requests for. So we're gonna bring on Alex right now. He is our lead designer here at the brewery. So a lot of the labels, a lot of the logos you see coming out, those are coming from Alex. So it was great seeing all of you. I might be back in later. I'll be behind the scenes, but enjoy. Let's see. I gotta do this.
Maybe, maybe not, right?
Maybe.
Oh,
If I can
right. Wow.
remove myself. Give me a second here. There we go.
Let me be the moderator. I got this.
Power the old girl down. All right, cool. So next up, we're gonna do Tart of Darkness. I don't really think this one needs as much of an introduction as some of these other ones, but obviously this beer is about as cool as it gets. In the years I've spent on the retail side of things, that this is absolutely one of those gateway brewery beers for folks. More often than not, I hear from people that this is, oh, Aaron, what's up, dude? More often than not, I hear that this is the beer that got people into the brewery, got people into sour beers, really like kind of set people on a different path when it comes to exploring the beer journey, as it will. This is part of the preservation pack for this year, and this thing is going public 4/16. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, I think having Alex on right now, we just had a comment. Like, I don't know if you want to talk about the new label at all. I think it looks pretty good, Alex. I think somebody else just said it looks really, really good.
Oh yeah. So
we change it to.
Hey everyone. I'm Alex, the design lead at the brewery. Yeah. So Tart of Darkness has kind of already seen its establishment of all the different variants we've done over the years. Had the same font as we do with like Black Tuesday, all the legacy beers we like to call them. So I think I was trying to improve on the Tart of Darkness line as a family. With Tart of Darkness doing many variants with what cherries and vanilla came out this year, right? So I gave it like a little personality. Tart of Darkness kind of reminds me of like medieval, dark, moody. So that's kind of the inspiration behind the label. And the background of it, the purple, is actually from the original label. So I tried to bring it back and pay homage to the original.
Yeah, so this is a beer that both that was here before. I guess any of us actually. This beer was around before, so it is one of our legacy beers, and we really haven't changed it much in terms of production, but we have definitely honed in on the amount of time that it spends in bourbon barrels. So we're trying to reduce the acid production in the beer. We want more of that bourbon character to stand out, and more of like that stout character to stand out, and that's why we kind of reduce the sourness in the beer. But yeah, it's just a typical stout base. Let that ferment on our Teru sour culture. It's actually pretty interesting to try right as it's done its primary fermentation before we put it in the barrel. Before it's sour, it's really tastes like an amazing stout, and then puts in the bourbon barrels and the sour bugs do its job.
How long does that usually take, Keith?
That's proprietary. It's like 6 to 7 months of aging.
Yeah, oh yeah, good point, Will. Yeah, the new label is sick, but I mean, Tart of Darkness is one of those beers that just changes every year. Every year is a little bit different because every Black Tuesday is a little bit different. How much do you feel like the barrels do the work versus just a good mix of like a really unique low alcohol base and the yeast?
I mean, I think with any barrel aged beer, whether it's a clean beer, a sour beer, the way you treat the beer is the way the beer is going to treat you, and if you take care of it going in, it's going to be great coming out. So yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. That's just really how it goes. I don't know if that answered that question.
With this, I guess the question, another way to word that, do you feel like this beer would be the same if it didn't go into the second use Black Tuesday, if it just went into any bourbon barrel?
I don't think it would be the same. I think you definitely get some ABV pickup. we do a pretty good job of filling these barrels with Tart of Darkness right as BT is coming out. So there's definitely some impact there. To be honest, I'm not sure. I know we've done a couple. We've done a couple just into oak barrels, like wine barrels, and they're definitely significantly different. But straight into bourbon, I'm not sure.
Why does this age so well? That's a good question for Mario, the homie Mario. What's up? Why do you think Tart of Darkness ages so well? That's funny you say that, Mario. I was actually kind of getting ready to do the same, dude. Now that I got one open, I was going to get this thing open next to it after and figure out what the hell is actually going on here since I checked in on it last. But why do you think this ages so well?
Maybe, I mean, honestly, like this is kind of a nerdy question and maybe Riley can kind of agree with or disagree with. But I mean, you're talking about a stout base. It's more of a complex malt bill, higher dextrin chain. So, I mean, you're talking about putting a beer into a bottle that isn't completely done fermenting. So any yeast or anything is gonna keep fermenting, and when it keeps fermenting, it's basically going to pick up all that oxygen that is in the bottle. So, I mean, that could be a reason why there's no or low oxidation, because it's that fermentation is going to keep going on, almost like a true lambic style beer, where you have these longer chain sugars that are just fermenting over years. That's typically why sour beers age better. Anyway.
Well, and it is a barrel aged stout too. So when you're barrel aged, you are oxygenating the beer and you know, typically for most styles, oxidation is what creates those off flavors that make beer age out. But for a barrel aged stout, those oxidative characteristics like the raisin or the woodiness, or sometimes like the honey or the sweeter kind of pruny flavors are from that barrel aging, and usually that's kind of the vinous characteristics that we're looking for in barrel aging. So I think staying in the bottle, it kind of rounds out those flavors, so it does age really well. And with sour, like Keith was saying, like we'll hold these bottles for a couple of weeks before we release them to kind of see where that's going. Because something like Tart of Darkness, that's, I don't know how old that brand is. Oh, it's older than any of us who've been at the brewery, but we know that beer well enough, and we know where it's going to go as far as aging.
Good answer. Yeah. Last one on this one, and then we'll move on to the next. Keith, what kind of bugs are you putting into this one?
Proprietary. No, it's our house.
Man, answer it a little bit faster.
So it's kind of, I mean, that's kind of a difficult. That's kind of a difficult.
We need enough time to at least get a beer
answer. Yeah, I mean, we literally we've been using. So now it's been a couple of years. We've been using our house sour culture, and I don't know if we got the results back. We are part of this study that we're getting basically our house sour culture sequence. So to tell you exactly what's in it, I can't really say.
Good answer.
But we're working.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. That one's fantastic. But April Showers, I'm kind of curious about this one. Part of a two-set, April Showers, Mayflowers. Let's go in chronological order, right? Seems like the right way to do this thing. So yeah, next up, April Showers. It's a dry-hopped Imperial Belgian-style golden ale fermented in New American oak puncheons. So this is pretty cool to see a barrel fermentation like this over on the brewery side. Absolutely. This is another beer that is part of the Preservation Quarter 2-pack. This one is available tomorrow to societies, and then this one is public on 4/10. And the label, again, this is another Ponce home run. This thing's sick. Umbrellas open on the inside. Love it, love it, love it.
Nice work, Alex. Good job.
Yeah, really. Oh shit, he's not around to take the compliment.
He's not. Yeah, that's why I did it.
Poor guy. Poor guy. Ooh, damn.
All right.
Hello.
All right, I got this one. I think I got
Jared Bear.
You got it?
Yeah, so just let's talk about the development of this beer. So before I think any of us on the screen were around, Andrew Bell and other folks at the brewery had brewed a beer called Iniquitous. As a matter of fact, Andrew Bell rebrewed Iniquitous last year, and it was on draft in our tasting rooms. And basically, Iniquitous is a mischief on steroids, if you will. So, Belgian Golden Ale that is 4.5% to 5% higher in ABV than mischief. I think this is 12.5. What's is mischief closer to 8? I think 8 somewhere in there. So a little bit of a beer on steroids, if you will. And then really, both of this beer, April Showers and May Flowers, is really brainchild of Darren Moser, our VP of brewing. He kind of came up with the names actually first, and was like, "Yeah, we should take that Iniquitous and make 2 beers with it." And I thought that was a great idea. I thought it was a really good beer. Doing something Belgian. Belgian inspired anyway for our preservation club seemed like the right thing for us to do. And then as we got to really dissecting what we wanted these beers to be, one of the things that's happened with the brewery over the 12 years of its existence is that we've continued to reinvent ourselves along the way. And one of the things that we hadn't done for quite a while was do a barrel fermentation for a clean beer. We have a sour and wild facility that's dedicated to fermenting beer in wood and aging in wood. And it's something that on the clean side of the brewery, barrels have been traditionally in the last couple of years used only for bourbon barrel aged stouts and wine beer hybrids or whatnot. So we had some brand new American oak puncheons that were ready to receive a wine beer hybrid that we had put together, but we had a window of opportunity. That window of opportunity was about 2 months, and so Darren and I and the rest of the team decided during that 2 months that what we're going to do is we're going to brew April Showers. We're going to put it into brand new American oak puncheons, and puncheon is the very large barrel that you'll see at Chiru in the tasting room. So we filled, I think it was 6 of these new American oak puncheons with this beer. We did a traditional barrel ferment in the clean canning cellar. So a little bit of throwing caution to the wind and saying we're going to go for this. Once the beer was done fermenting, we topped it off with residual beer that was fermenting in stainless steel. Topped those barrels off, moved them to storage where we stored them for 2 months. When the beer came out of barrels, it was then dry hopped in tank, and that's what we got here. So this is April Showers, barrel fermented, wood, hops, all that kind of fun, funky stuff. And when I say fun, funky stuff, I just mean kind of returning to a little bit of tradition that the people that were at the brewery before us had really perfected. And I think if anybody's had the Hellas or the Hell Yes beer that Alex named, that beer is another return to history for the brewery. The fact that we're putting a lager in a bottle and bottle conditioning it to use that bottle conditioning as an elevation point for the beer is something that believe it or not is like super exciting to people like me who are continuously pushing the envelope to do things that are outside the box, that are weird, and just to pull it back a little bit and say, wow, let's do something perfect and simple and take our time doing it is pretty cool to do. So anyhow, that's my spiel.
It's my story. I'm sticking to it. This is fantastic. This is so good. All right, we're gonna bounce one out. We're gonna bounce one in. If you got a glass, raise a glass to Ethan right now. Ethan.
Cheers, Ethan.
Cheers, guys.
Man, dude, thanks for coming and joining us, dude.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ethan, all the way from DC.
Yep.
You better be back. All right, we got one out. That means we got one more coming in.
Andrew Bell.
Up.
Come to
Change of scenery. How are you guys
What's up,
doing?
dude? Welcome in.
Yeah, thanks.
Man, this thing is fantastic, unique, nice departure for us. Let's talk Iniquitous though. Everyone's Iniquitous has a pretty wild story to it for as far as those go.
It's kind of funny that I don't know. As Jeremy was saying, Darren was a really big champion of that beer once we rebrewed it. But the kind of funny thing is treating these in this way is kind of the backwards of what that is. So when we first brewed Iniquitous, the kind of funny thing about it was that we were just brewing a straight up Belgian golden ale. Like no adjuncts, no weird hops, no oak, no nothing. And then that beer never got released, at least the bottle version, because 10% alcohol, we tried to bottle condition it, and we just either didn't prime it correctly or the yeast wasn't healthy. And we held on to it for like 2 or 3 years, and it was dead flat. So we only released the draft portion of that. And that was kind of like a sore subject for a long time. But
we still teased everyone with the label on the wall in the tasting room for
exactly
the 6 years to follow. The only label on the wall in the tasting room that was never released, and my understanding is that is the only beer that we've ever done that we have created the label and actually bottled and for the issue like that. Been the only beer on the brewery side, correct?
There might have been 1 or 2 others, but it's the only one we publicized.
Yeah, very legendary.
But yeah, no, we kept that beer for years in bottles, trying to hope that it carbonated. I think Beechwood took some to use for like their fish and chips for brining or for in the batter. But yeah, no, the draft version was delicious way back in the day. And yeah, just a straight up Belgian golden strong ale featuring our house yeast. And then, as Jeremy was saying, Darren came up with these names, and then the beers kind of followed suit. And it's just playing off this clean base. We initially wanted to use that stainless base in some way for a hoarder's box, and then kind of reimagine those into these 2 beers. So I think they're pretty fun. To be honest, I haven't tasted April Showers in bottle yet until just now. So
yeah, it's fantastic. We have the 2, so we're still going to be kind of keeping in the same line of questioning. But if anyone has any questions directly related to this one, throw it up. We can still circle back on that one. Otherwise, we're going to get on to Mayflowers, which is this one. I still have a bit of this, so I'm going to kind of take my time on it. I'm really, 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 really digging it. This is the same base beer with rose hips and hibiscus.
Yep.
Cool. We'll talk about this one a little bit.
Jeremy, you want to start on it, or I can, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much as Ryan said. It's Iniquitous, so same base beer off the brew house as the April Showers, but instead it all went into a stainless steel tank. Sorry, not quite the same beer off the brew house. We added a bit of the botanicals, the flowers, into the whirlpool. And then we ended up doing a second edition of the flowers to get it a little bit more floral, as well as to brighten up the color, make it a little bit darker. So
The color.
The initial one was kind of pink, and now we're more on a red hue. So, and then obviously the hibiscus adds a little bit of tartness to it. Yeah, the pH gets lowered quite a bit using the hibiscus.
All right. First question, is the base beer of April and May, would you say it's just Imperial Mischief or
no
similar-ish?
I mean, Belgian Golden Strong Ale, so yeah, it's 2 rower pills with some dextrose in it. Mischief has a slightly different late kettle hop addition than this does. And they're different gravities as well. Label? Yeah, same base yeast and same sort of style, but they're different recipes.
Smells fantastic also. Another sick Ponce art job. Way to go, dude.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
What's the inspiration on this one, Alex?
I mean, rose hips, roses. I was thinking like Pasadena Rose Bowl. So I just illustrated a big rose on it. Mayflowers, April Showers. Kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, sick. Will, the absolute gentleman from Texas, my man, just curious, why rose hips and hibiscus? Why not something like lavender?
Well, I'll start on that one. Lavender, it can be hugely polarizing, as well as hibiscus. On the positive side, hibiscus has huge appeal for being able to make a beer this color, which people seem to like. So lavender is definitely more expressive. We could have done something like chamomile or elderflower as well, but figured we'd keep it, keep it to something that's floral, subtle, but has great color impact to even more differentiate it from the April beer. So, any of you guys want to add on to that?
I actually got a question, just because honestly I don't know too much about this beer. Like, where did this beer finish out in like Plato? Just curious.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So for me, both of these beers have like a little bit of sort of perceived sweetness, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they both finished it out at like 0.5 Plato.
Yes, it's a strange sweetness.
Yeah, it's like it's ethanol derived, and the lack of bitterness from relatively mild bittering addition, I think, emphasizes that sweetness a little bit. But yeah, no, these are bone dry beers.
Nice.
Is there any intention for people to grab the two of these things and blend them? I mean, like, am I insane for doing this?
It might be. Tell me how it is.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, one way to find out. But sometimes, I mean, that's, you'll see when we release 2 beers at a time that they kind of do play off each other in a little bit more than just the base. But was there ever any thought to that? This being a blend, like a 2-part, open them together?
Maybe it's some higher level, but not in my head.
Nice.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
When 1 month ends, the next one starts. They don't blend together.
Oh, come on.
Sure.
I don't know what world you're living in, but yeah, do you add a different floral note in Mayflowers by using Mount Hood hops? That is very specific.
We don't use Mount Hood hops currently, unless we were trying to burn through some hops, but I don't think so on this beer. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure this beer is Styrian Goldings in the late edition. What's up, Mike?
Mikey.
Yeah, but yeah, no, the late edition I'm pretty sure is Styrian Golding. And then obviously the dry hop on April Showers was Hallertau Blanc. But yeah,
This is great.
no Mount Hood to my knowledge. I think we've had 1 box of Mount Hood in like the last 3 years go through the brewery. So
not too shabby. Yeah, not too shabby. You guys see Mike popped in?
Hmm?
All right. Any other questions on this one? What else we got? I was gonna say we got beers if you don't got questions.
all
And
right,
you need to do
what's next?
Need to do a full glass change because we got the sticky chunk.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Got like a little bit of a story to it too. What should we get one of these? Like, all right, fucking open this thing. Let's not waste any time.
Another fun label. Thanks,
Yeah,
Alex.
right.
Especially that matte coated can.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
thing's ridiculous, dude. Yeah, this thing is beautiful. Icky Thunk, Sticky Chunk, Sit and Sunk in a barrel in Placentia. That's fucking great. Brewed in collaboration with our friends at Microphone. Sticky Chunk is the big barrel-aged brother to Icky Thump. Swirls with marshmallow, cacao nibs, and almond. Sounds like a rocky road to me, boys. Good.
And you're exactly right. Hopefully, I actually talked on the phone with Mike from Microphone earlier this week, and he is planning on selling his version of the barrel-aged Icky Thump, I think 2 days after we go to public, if it makes it to public on this. So hopefully
No, it does, absolutely.
Hopefully we'll get him on a happy hour. I mentioned it to him, and he seemed pretty interested. But yeah, no, this was... I think Jeremy can probably fill in because I believe he was out there for the initial collab when we brewed Icky Thump out in Chicago, and then we brewed it out here.
That was Fobab week?
Yeah, why doesn't Jeremy take it over for that bit?
Sure. I was going to say in the meantime, real quick, I know everyone's dying to know. Yeah, this is our microphone collab. Society's tomorrow, and this one is public on 4/16. So this is a public beer. You will be able to buy this, and you will buy this. But Jeremy, take it away, man.
Yeah, I don't quite know what I'm taking over, other than just telling you a little story about the 4 collab beers that we've done with Microphone. 2 in Chicago at Microphone, and two here under the brewery label. But basically, the idea for the collab was stout. Obviously, wanted to do big stouts with Mike over at Microphone, and he has a really interesting coffee roaster. His friends of his called Tugboat, and Andrew had brought in some of Microphone's beers over the years, and I think he executes and does coffee beer really, really well. And I think that's a sign of Mike's own talent and his staff's talent. But I also think there's something to Tugboat and the way they roast their coffee that marries really well with the beer. So when we originally talked about doing some collab beers, we talked about brewing beer together, but using each other's preferred coffee roasters. So we used Tugboat for ours. I believe his first rendition was Portola.
Thanks.
Is that correct? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he's using for his second beer, but
so the second one is actually someone in our chat right now.
Oh yeah,
so he's using Mostra for the barrel aged one.
Oh, cool! Right on.
Very good.
So Mostra is awesome. Mike does a really good job with his coffee too, and he's one of our dear friends and somebody we like to use as well. But a little bit of a different shift for us. We did Icky Thump last year. We were really happy with the beer. But when we were coming on to our barrel aged version, the one thing I knew I didn't want to do is, and obviously it's not just me, I try to get the whole team on it. I just didn't want to repeat exactly what we did last year. To me, I felt like that was kind of the easy way out. So there was some other things kicked around. Andrew Bell and Mike, a couple in town, I believe, for Mostra's party. Is that right?
Yep.
So he was in town for Mostra's party. He came by. They tasted some barrels, and they really liked some of the natural vanilla and marshmallow character that was coming through in the beer. And that was kind of the one message from Andrew was like, yeah, the s'mores. I think s'mores would be the way to go. To which I was like, cool, let's play with the marshmallow factor, but let's not do s'mores. Strictly because we'd done a couple s'mores beers in the last 10 months or so. And we got, we're just trying to be careful. We don't want to make the same beer over and over. So Rocky Road was something we hadn't played with in a little while. So much different than the other, but this has some nuts in it. Anyway, long story short, the beer's.
This is absolutely insane. This is one of those beers. I'm gonna say if the members don't buy it all, it will make it to public. We are planning for this beer to be sold publicly, but once members try this thing, can't make any promises. This is remarkable. Will, again, what qualities are you looking for in the coffees you guys use in the coffee stouts? It's a good question.
That's a loaded question. It's a really loaded question, and it kind of changes every couple of years. But in general, we're looking for a higher roast level than most, artisan third wave post coffee roasters like to take their beans. It seems that we get less in long-term aging. We get less pyrazine or a longer shelf life the higher the roast is, which has both roast and melanoidin, which kind of cover up pyrazine, which is that green bell pepper roasted jalapeno character you get in aged coffee beers. But it depends on the project. If it's just straight up coffee, we're usually looking also for a little bit of an origin that has like some fruit character to it that's kind of interesting, not just one note. So kind of depends, but yeah, usually a higher roast level than what most like high-end coffee places really like to do, like more like an espresso level roast. So
ABV on Sticky Thump 14%. You notice not a bit of it.
So that's a good point. So this beer, the base beer, is similar, both Microphone's version and our barrel aged version, similar to the original beer, but boosted up in gravity by a couple points before going into barrel. So it is a stronger base, but yeah.
That's exactly what they want to hear. I think.
Milan,
what is the most expensive coffee bean that we have used in any beer?
Melange 8 had a
geisha, right?
Yeah, it had a geisha that was like $114 a pound wholesale or some incredible thing like that. And Patrick,
the whole point of that beer was just being excessive and ridiculous.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like first or second year of Hoarders, and it was a Hoarders exclusive bottle per. And Patrick was very happy in saying that we used up, I think, 60% of the world's supply of this one coffee in a beer. So
that's fun. That's insane.
Hey, look who's listening in on the chat. Our collaborator on this beer.
Oh, Michael Palin. What's up, Mikey boy? God, we gotta find a way to get this dude on here. Any other questions on this one? Going once, going twice. Because we're trying to celebrate our anniversary.
I think it's interesting. Like you're talking about like coffee and beers, and I think it's really important to discuss how we, you kind of make beers for the adjunct ingredients that we're going to be added to it, and that is something that's very important to not just. You have to know about like what your ending product is, right, Andrew, and not just like you can't just make a beer and throw stuff in it and make it good.
Yeah, no.
You got to think about the whole project as a whole. So I think that is one thing that some smaller breweries and starting off, they kind of forget to think about the project as a whole, and they just think throwing coffee in a stout is going to make a great coffee stout. But I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, part of the reason why. Like, yeah, for the first one, we did have an intention of using coffee in it. And then the second one, having Mike out here to taste through barrels was super useful because we tasted through barrels and some of them had like this very distinct marshmallowy vanilla thing. And then other ones had these chocolate notes. And we just thought like initially s'mores, but then Rocky Road, which also ties in together the chocolate and the marshmallow vanilla. We just thought that was like a great combination. So.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm sitting here looking at the can. This thing is beautiful.
I actually want to comment on the label really quick.
Yeah, what the hell?
So I actually brought back the collaboration badge for this one, which we're trying to introduce for all the new collaborations in 2020 and moving on. So like Ryan, we're doing annual next, right?
Yep.
Can you put that up to the camera?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the classic collaboration
on annual.
Versus,
yeah, so like that's the original badge and die cut we use. So that one on Sticky Trunk is a collaboration die cut or badge. So once you start seeing that more and more often, it's collaboration.
So then this is the badge die cut, right? Just to explain to other people.
Yeah, the shape of our our well-known labels that we're known for.
What made us bring that back? Was there anything pushing for that, or just a firm belief that people should be able to identify on a shelf from a distance?
When we're looking at the 2020 calendar, beer release calendar, we were kind of looking at all the collaborations, and I think it was either Jeremy or Darren who brought up the fact of bringing back the collaboration badge. And at that point, I didn't know what it was, but I started going back to Mrs. Stoutfire and all that. So bringing it back, I think, is paying true homage to kind of where the labels came from.
Keep an eye on the comments. Terrence is going to go nuts right now with the mention of Stoutfire, but that's cool, man. It's just the comments. Jonathan, as the beer brews, how do you make sure that all of the flavors are melding together the way you intended?
Keith, you want to start with that?
Yes, you said me?
Yeah, you should start with that. Because, barrel versus stainless is a little bit different. And stainless, you have more control through your experience, and then barrel, you can handle the barrel.
Yeah, I think honestly that is one reason that we're fortunate enough to be in a position we are with a pretty diverse population of barrels, to not just four physical barrels of the same beer. We're at Taru, we're doing more blending, and I think the bourbon barrel side is doing more blending as well. And we can actually choose barrels that we're looking for. So I mean that's a good question, but it really is tasting along the way. We taste pretty frequently. If it's a new beer that we're kind of unsure of, we definitely taste a lot more frequently to make sure it's progressing that way. It's kind of a good segue into this next beer, where a portion of this beer Annuel is it's a sour quad. So when this beer was first made, the quad wasn't supposed to be a sour quad. It's supposed to be just like a Brett fermented quadruple, but it went sour and it came out super pleasant. It kind of lended itself to adding fruit. So the first iteration was quadruple Tanya, and then we basically kept making that beer because we liked the flavors that it was putting off. So I mean, it kind of definitely, like, you want it to go in a direction, but sometimes the beer tells you the direction it's going to go in.
Definitely. I was going to say, we'll cue up the next one. Let's keep talking about this one, but cue this one up. This one's, especially with the wax, it's going to take a sec for us to get through. So if you're following along at home.
Mario had one question about being vegan. And it is
absolutely. Keep talking.
The marshmallows in it are specifically vegan marshmallows. We did not use lactose, and so it is vegan.
See you, Sour J.
Beautiful. Just like that. Cue it up. Noel. Next up, the Taru anniversary beer. I love this because it changes so much year to year.
To go back to that, the comment about the vegan marshmallows. I don't know if you've ever had vegan marshmallows, but they're absolutely amazing. They really are. Like I didn't even know what a vegan marshmallow was until we ordered them for. We use them in our brewsicles as well. So from our Charm series to keep it lactose free. But they're absolutely amazing. So if you ever get a chance, definitely try them out. Yeah. So Annuel. So this is our. This is kind of like our time to play around in the fruit cellar and really choose what barrels we really enjoy, right? So we actually take some. Let me pour a little bit here. So
to get really technical about it, the blend comprised 47% is bourbon barrel aged, 39% is the sour quad. So when I say bourbon barrel aged ale, I mean our anniversary Solera beer, right, Keith?
So a portion of that bourbon barrel aged ale is the Solera. So it's not 100%. So like
not complete.
Not all 47% is the Solera anniversary.
But it's 47% anniversary. Some of it comprised of Solera blend, 39% sour quad, and then 14% imperial sour blonde.
Right.
So this is Annuel. This is the Taru anniversary beer. Let's crack this bad data open.
Keith, how big was the one last year, ABV wise? You know?
Honestly, I'm not sure of the ABV. Sorry, off the top of my head.
This bottle in front of me is saying 13.7, and I thought it was a little bit lower than that last year, but
it could be. Honestly, I'm not sure what it was last year, and to be honest with you, I wasn't even sure what the ABV was this year until we run it. I mean, we really don't blend to the ABV at Taru, or I don't even think Marie does that. We kind of really blend for flavor. Honestly, that's a Riley metric that she has to legally put on our labels. So Riley's in charge of that one.
We will blend stainless for ABV on the done side of things, on the non-sour side of things, for beers like Mischief or Relax or Trait. All those guys. We'll blend for ABV, but barrel aged beers now, we like for Keith as well, like their side of things, we're pulling samples from the barrel and then running ABV on that before we make labels, versus like something that's a year round product or a stainless product where we have to have the label before things are brewed. So,
could we just say happy birthday to Taru? It's coming up, but we'll celebrate early. Happy 5th anniversary to the brewery fucking Tart. That's sick. Yeah, that's sick. Had to grab another glass because there's no way I'm going to rush through this rocky road. I am serious. If you are in societies, buy this beer. This beer
is amazing.
This beer fucking rips, dude. Oh, Mikey. All right, we'll work on getting the lamp up. Yep.
No,
Fix. Yeah.
Other direction. Well, you need to wait for it to go away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Johnny Boy. Yeah, we're celebrating right now. But Annuel, so how did this beer even come to be? Annuel has not always been a thing. So what was the inspiration? Obviously, Taru needs to celebrate too. We need a beer for Taru, but
yeah. So
what's with the blends? I mean, this is a crazy project.
So we have anniversary coming out from the brewery, which is basically a base beer that is aged for destined to be anniversary, right? So basically, when we first started this, we wanted to definitely contribute some of the bourbon barrel age anniversary from the brewery, because that's basically what birthed Taru, and we wanted to make our own version of blended sour ale using some of the base beer from the brewery, and that's where we're at here. So I mean, we definitely stick to the tradition of having a more of like a bourbon flavored anniversary beer, right? And that's what this is. I mean, you got a lot of anniversary notes that honestly for me, they come in the back end, more of the funk nose from the Imperial. It's basically Imperial Rouge or Imperial Sour Blonde. And then you get that sour quad. That sour quad hits all those fruit notes. So it's kind of like a progression from nose. It's more Imperial Sour Blonde, some funk. Then it goes through this really fruity palate, and then that bourbon barrel age anniversary really hits you on the back end. Definitely some caramel sweetness, a lot of fruit. So
yeah, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like a big part of this beer is just the blend calculations. Riley, is this something that you feel like you could just fucking boggle our minds with?
With the ABV calculations?
Blend calculations, ABV calculations. I mean, everything about this project is so untraditional and just really special. You can talk about the lamp if you want to also. There's a lot of questions about the lamp. It's perfectly centered, lined up.
Well, it was until that happened.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I was wondering how many people would ask about that. I kind of want one now. But
no, what are you talking about? That's a real lamp.
But I think too, like one thing that I do with Riley, and we do this pretty closely on, and this is a lot of Taru, is we do a lot of ABV calculations for different beers along the way, and then when we blend, it's more of like did we actually do that number, and that number is really good to know, because you know if you blended it properly or not, and I don't know.
And I think it depends a little bit on the style, whether or not it's still kind of an active fermentation. So on the brewery side, we'll sample all of the barrels and decide what barrels we want to put into Black Tuesday or So Happens, or whatever beer we're trying to blend. We'll taste all of them and get the amount of barrels that we need, and then we'll run them through and get their ABV, and we'll come up with a number. But something for a beer that a beer at Taru, it's still a wild and active beer until we bottle it, and sometimes and it's active, it's wild in the bottle as well. So we measure the gravity or the residual sugar that's still in the beer, and kind of calculate where the ABV is going to end up. There's a lot that goes into that as well. So we want to make sure that we're bottling beer that the gravity is not so high where that fermentation is going to keep going, and you're going to end up with a beer that has CO2 and ends up exploding or something. But yeah, we have a lot of measures to make sure that we get the correct ABV and the parameters that we want to serve it at.
Kind of want to echo changing the subject a little bit, I kind of want to echo what Jeremy said in the comments. Like, Keith, I think this blend is by far the best of the annual series. It's epic. Like, so much like dried stone fruit on the nose, like a little bit of new oak character. You and your team did an epic job on this. Like,
We all
really
did.
good job.
It takes an army. Yeah, it takes
Happy
an army.
Happy fifth.
Yeah.
It takes an army, and the lamps are super limited.
One
Man,
tomorrow. Order.
yeah. Damn, Steve, our digital marketing manager. This is all gonna be all your fault, dude. When you're out there spray painting stencils onto lamps because you told people they'd be on sale tomorrow with allocations. Yeah, there we go.
Is that available for delivery?
Now everyone,
Can we get that
we got
delivered?
Steve's full names.
Go
Do you
to
have
We'll
the
do delivery on
logo
that.
and stencil? Yeah.
local delivery, shipping, any way you want them, we'll get you the lamps.
I still have the brewery stencil. Bill, I have the stencil.
You do for
I have
new
the
logo?
stencil.
Nice.
Yeah.
You do have the. I know why you have the stencil too.
I have
I have
the
a- I have
Oh,
an
man.
logo
put on the
the series.
kegs.
Any more questions? Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. Lawrence, my man. What's up, Larry? Larry boy. Great beer. PBJ Thursday or Blueberry Pancake. When it sells out so quickly, is there a reason for not increasing production?
Ooh. Yes.
Well, PB&J Thursday, we might end up doing more. We're a little, actually, I mean, there's a lot of things in here. So Blueberry Pancake, part of the reason, like the Black Tuesday box from last year were beers that were incredibly hard for us to make, just in general at any scale beyond a single barrel. What's up, Larry? So that, I mean, that was a huge process. Will that beer get scaled in the future? Maybe. But I mean, it's incredible how all those beers from the Black Tuesday box were just, from a process perspective, nightmares to make, despite how delicious they are.
Oh,
But never say never on that. PB&J Thursday,
Especially Spicy
I
Island.
think we might make a little bit more in the next year or two. But in general, I don't want to say this in a weird way, but we're Black Tuesday. We don't have as much of it as in years past, and maybe that's like an internal thing. But Black Tuesday is a rare beer, and we don't have a huge amount of it in the cellar right now. So we're going to stretch it into the beers that we think we can make with it, and obviously making sure that the regular Black Tuesday blend at the end of the year is epic. But yeah, we don't have thousands and thousands of barrels of Black Tuesday at this point. So it's part of the reason why all of these Black Tuesday variants don't get scaled.
It's like Willy Wonka. Like, we don't actually have the chocolate river full of Black Tuesday. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
we have the Oompa Loompas. We don't have the chocolate river. Jonathan, I'm so sorry. The lamp was a joke. There are no lamps tomorrow. I even hate saying this. Victor Lester in the house. I hate that. All right. Next up, we have a really big one. I need to go and grab this thing. I have it in a different temp fridge, actually, because I don't want this to get super cold. Next up, we are going to do Sunday. But really quickly, if we have any questions on Annuel, we do have a little bit more time to talk about this one. This is another beer that we will have in the preservation box, which is sick. And this beer is also going to be going public on 410.
Going back to, can I pick up tomorrow? So hoarders can pick up any of these beers that they order tomorrow. Reserve Society Thursday, Preservation Society Friday. If you're not a member and you want to try Annuel, you got to join the Preservation Society. That's the only way right now.
Not a bad deal.
I think he's asking about the lamp.
Well,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
the lamps are important. So we're going to move on to the next beer. And we're also going to move on to the next member of Famille Rue. So Riley is going to come out, and we're actually...
Thanks, Riley. Thanks for all your hard work and all the delicious beers.
So we're actually going to bring on, and we thought it'd be fun, so we're bringing on one of you guys. So one of our Hoarders members is going to come on with us right now. He's going to try Sunday, kind of tell us about like his whole journey of being a member. So everybody say hello to Robert. So Robert, everyone, I think Ryan and I both had the pleasure of meeting Robert at our first or second supper club. Our second supper club.
Second supper club. First was Playground. Second was Harley.
Yeah. So
I had the pleasure of hanging out with Robert. That was fucking awesome that night. That was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that was amazing. If you don't know what supper club is, then you don't know. Sorry. You can ask. We might answer. But supper club, we met Robert. It was a really great experience. And when we kind of were thinking about should we bring on a member to do this, Robert just like immediately popped into our heads. So let's start throwing your questions into the comments. We're going to start answering.
In the meantime, we kind of had a perfect segue a couple of minutes ago. We're talking about Spicy Island, right?
We did, yeah.
Spicy Island's fucking sick. I heard we might have another keg of that we're going to pull in.
We might.
Talk about that a little bit?
We can talk about it.
Let me grab that Sunday. You talk about Spicy Island. We'll get the spicy boy out of here. And then you can talk about the Spicy Island.
Ryan, you think this bottle will fit in this glass?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So this week we're
going to pour that, Keith. Iceman pour it.
Oh no!
All the way to the brim.
For Lester. This one's for Lester in the chat.
Nice. Victor.
So I think what Ryan was getting at was I kind of mentioned earlier we're gonna throw a couple beers up against each other, let you guys vote on what you want us to tap, and be available in Crowlers for shipping, delivery, pickup from the tasting room. We have a very limited amount of kegs of Spicy Island, and that's going to be one of the beers that you can vote for tomorrow. So make sure you read your emails. They're going out tomorrow for hoarders, Thursday for Reserve Society. You can vote. If you want Spicy Island, make sure to just open that email, click the link, go vote for Spicy Island, and we'll have a very small amount available in Crowlers to purchase. Limit one for everybody.
For everybody.
So we're waiting for Ryan to get back. I'm going to go grab a bottle of Sunday. Robert.
I'm going to wish Keith good luck with that.
It's a Robert. Awesome. I think Robert's fun. So Robert, you want to kind of tell us a little bit about
Robert.
How did you become a member? How are you enjoying your experience as a hoarder? And maybe just talk a little bit about when we met at the supper club. And then we'll just drink some beer and we'll just talk.
Sounds good. So I got introduced to the brewery kind of through a proxy, I would say. I was coming into my current job, and I was kind of just a casual beer drinker. My guilty pleasure was Blue Moon, and I drank that pretty much exclusively. And then Bottle Logic's Week of Logic came up, and I was introduced to that bourbon barrel-aged beers. And so, that week went over, and all of a sudden I'm like, where do I get my barrel bourbon aged anymore? And my buddy is like, well, I'm going to introduce you to a place that has it all year round. And so he had me over. He took me over to the tasting room over there in Flip Flops.
Did somebody check his ID? How old is this guy?
And we ever since then I bought. I had heard of the brewery because of the Tart of Darkness, which I'm so happy to see is in our next allocation. But then I had that provisions many a times over. But having tried like Black Tuesday and everything, and then jumping on the Black Tuesday as soon as it was publicly available, and then as soon as I saw that the Reserve Society posting on Instagram, I just jumped on that opportunity, got into Reserve Society, and just I think last year we started doing the suppers, and that was such an amazing opportunity. I brought my wife with me, and we got to actually sit down with the crew, asking just really intimate questions, enjoying the beers. I think that was the first. I don't know if they'd like the house beer of the day was at Playground was Hellas, and I probably had 4 of them because they looked awesome. And now I always
you had Hellas on a Playground. What the fuck?
And so the next one was over in Laguna Beach, and enjoyed that. Met Daniel there and Ryan, and it was that was a fantastic night. Enjoyed a lot of time enjoying the beer, and the food pairings are also always perfect. The chefs just love the brewery.
Damn! Shout out to Greg Daniels.
Pair it so well.
Long-time brewery supporter, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
with the supper club.
They're also doing delivery and takeout at their restaurant right now too.
Amazing, yeah. Harley Laguna, check them out.
Yes,
Good, real good.
The I try to keep in contact with the guys, and got an opportunity to join Hoarders, and I've been so happy with everything that's been released so far, and especially been excited about all there's a video coming out every month about the beers that are being that we're getting, so I understand what I'm picking up, and it's definitely sold more. I'm sure, loving it so much. Trying it.
I think it also kind of results in just like less questions on Instagram to a random person that may or may not catch it, as we get hundreds of messages a day. Hey, where can I find this beer? Hey, what's the perfect serving temperature for this? Hey, how did you process the almonds? So I think this is like the best way for us to kind of have that like one-on-one connection. I'll reach out. I'll touch you right now. Here we are.
I think we have a really great question for you, Robert. And no pressure. It's just totally casual situation. But remember who reached out to you and invited you on tonight. But yeah, like let's get to it. Let's get real.
It's
I don't know who Jeremy
Rinky.
I'm not sure who that is.
Jeremy, I think he's a preservation member. Jeremy, thank you so much for your support.
My heart goes out to Daniel. We've been pretty close. I really appreciate we've run into each other into a couple of the events.
Good.
I remember I think it was the kickoff. That was early, maybe it was January, February. And talked to Daniel for a little bit over in the Hoarders room. It was awesome. So
awesome. Let's talk a little bit about this beer. Del, you're probably the best guy to kick this one off. Tell us a little bit about this year's Sunday, maybe what's different from last year's Sunday, and your extra sensory notes.
Yes.
I was going to say, if you can discuss the differences in Sunday from last year, Ryan Land will be a happy man.
Sorry.
That'll take care of one of these questions.
The other year, the last time we released it.
2018.
2018.
So Sunday, the original pilot for it was served at our anniversary party in 2016 or so. And it was... Taking a step back. Let's take a step back. So a couple of years ago, maybe 2015, 2016, we got the opportunity to buy a full truckload of these ridiculously awesome Napa Cab wine barrels. And for marketing reasons, we could never say what winery they came from. But
do you want to give the first two letters and the last two letters?
No, I'm going to say it because this isn't a printed thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Harlan fucking Estate. Like it's a cult Napa Cab winery that sells their bottles of wine for like $900 a bottle. Like it's intense stuff. We got in.
For what it's worth, the only two breweries that I've even seen selling Harlan wine barrel aged beers are us and Evil Twin. And you know as well as I do, Daniel as well. Yepe is also Yepe and Patrick are animals. In the wild, so.
Yeah, exactly. They
drink
some expensive wine. But yeah, so we got a full truckload. I think we got almost their entire yearly supply that year. Again, we couldn't use their name in our printed marketing or anything like that, but this is a less formal setting, so I could say that. But yeah, so the pristine single-use, like gorgeous chateau-style French oak barrels with a red wine stain down the center. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. Still a huge amount of oak character to them. Got a bunch of them. We put a lot of Black Tuesday into them. But yeah, any sort of like red wine barrel thing you've seen from us in like the last 3 or 4 years, like red wine BT or anniversary for some of the more limited runs, those are all from Harlan Estate. So the initial
just flipping through the questions. It's Terrence's question. I was just going to say before we get too far ahead, this was a big question at our welcome weekend party at the beginning of the year because it's people were looking for Harlan BT, but they only saw Red Wine BT. We cannot tell you. We shouldn't be telling you that it's Harlan. But anytime that you see Red Wine BT, it is that Harlan. That is a big, very big question for us, at least on the retail side of things, is that people don't equate Harlan to red wine.
Or anytime you see if you see us mention like Napa barrels, that's Harlan as well. I'm trying to think of any other time we've used red wine barrels on the clean side that weren't from Harlan Estate, and I can't think of any. But anyway, so the pilot we did for our anniversary party was a Harlan Estate Black Tuesday barrel that we put in boysenberry and vanilla. Really well received. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. But yeah, the jammy character of boysenberry with vanilla just goes really well. And additionally, the berry character in boysenberry meshes really well with red wine. And Black Tuesday by itself has some dark fruit character. So that was considered a pretty good synergy. So the first time we made Sunday, we still had a bunch of these barrels in stock, and we only used these barrels once on the clean side before we sent them over for Keith to deal with.
Give me all those.
He'll be able to use them for a while. He'll be able to use them for a while. I don't think we have too many left.
Win, dude! Local celebrity. I say local. I don't think he's commenting from Hollywood. I think this is probably someone locally.
So Ryan,
but Owen Wilson's back.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is like the third time I've seen Owen Wilson comment.
Owen Wilson, what is going on here? I know Emilio Estevez. Dude, Emilio Estevez is a huge beer guy. I've heard Emilio Estevez host bottle shares at his house. So, like, if you have a KBBS, you are gonna meet the mighty Duckman. I swear to God. What? Yeah, we have Owen Wilson.
Is that real? Like, is that real? Like, what is that?
There's no
we
way.
need that little blue check box.
I know. I want to see.
There's no way, but hey, I'm a big fan, dude. Meet the Parents. It's called a Holpa.
Sorry.
Anyway, back to the beer. So first time we did this. First time we did this was a blend of about 60 to 70% Harlan Estate barrels and some bourbon. We thought that the Harlan Estate would provide the sort of jammy fruit character that would mesh with the boysenberry side of things, and that the bourbon would provide the vanillin that would match with the vanilla side of things. Fast forward to now. We don't really have any Harlan Estate BT. Or red wine barrel aged BT, whatever you want to call it. But tasting through like sort of some mock-ups of this, the bourbon just accentuates the vanilla quite a bit more. So it works. It works. We don't really need the red wine. And to be honest, most of the character we were getting out of those Harlan Estate barrels, considering they're only used for one turn, was vanillin oak character as well. So the difference between the 2 years from a liquid perspective is that this is 100% bourbon barrel. We have a slightly different Madagascar vanilla bean source. This year we're using some really awesome beans that we found. They're the juiciest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Awesome. They're epic. Keith can talk about those in a minute.
Awesome. They're awesome.
Boysenberries are coming in to us from Oregon. Bourbon barrel aged. Yeah, I think it's awesome. And then also the label's updated. Alex over there.
Label's sick. Fonts.
Pretty good job. Pretty good job on this. So, yeah, no, I think this is delicious. This historically has been one of my favorite BT variants. Yeah, I think the production team did an amazing job bringing this back, and I hope to see it again. Maybe if it's not yearly, like every other year. So. I think it's just a combo that works. The jamminess, the vanilla menu with a stout, it's awesome.
Awesome, dude. Okay.
Keith can talk about some vanilla, Keith.
Or you want to
No, the vanilla.
Keith on the vanilla. Alex on the label. Robert Daniel and I
not
were
too
going to
much
talk
about the vanilla. The vanilla is fucking great. It's some of the best vanilla beans we've seen in a long time. And honestly, it's some of the best labels we've seen in a long time. So that's you, Alex. Nice job.
Yeah, so I wanted to update this from the last time we did it in 2018. I think if a beer is coming out of the brewery doors, I think if it's got a weekday or weekend name, it should be a little more moody, a little more, premium high end. And I didn't feel like the last one didn't portray that enough. So I made it a little more, using our famous, our reflection metallic Sunday with geometric boysenberries in the back, highlighting one boysenberry in the middle. You can kind of see that.
Sure.
But yeah, I think, with, Sunday when it deserves a weekday name, a beer that has a presence, I think it deserves a little, higher end look and feel. So that's why I updated it that way.
Hey, shout out the bottle stopper, by the way. Clicker on. Yeah,
I had that on a bottle of sparkling wine last night. It worked very well.
Good, beautiful. I saw a comment before we get too far away from this. There was a comment that was wondering, is double red wine BT also Harlan? There is no double barrel red wine BT. It is actually the same barrels that are aged for. It is the same same barrels that are aged for 2 years.
There's
2-year red wine BT.
There's that, and there's the Hoarder's Box that was black TWO. Tuesday?
Not Tuesday. This is in reference to the red wine Black Tuesday. The 2-year red wine. It's not a double barrel. It is the same barrels for 2 years just sitting. I hope that answers your question, but if not, just chime back in.
Yeah, and the other one had the Harlan Estate barrels plus some port pipes, and that's the difference on that one. So we've done a lot of.
It'll be rude. I'm gonna cut everyone off. Let's. We're getting over an hour here. I know we wanted to try and keep it to happy hour this week. So I want to shift it back to Robert. I want to ask Robert 2 questions that are going to really put him on the spot.
Your mic's muted.
Your mic's muted, Robert. So unmute. So, what's been your favorite member beer as a member so far? And then second question, what's been your favorite beer this year?
Okay.
I know you know. I know you have them in your head, dude.
No, I actually keep a spreadsheet of all the beers I've had at Bottle Logic.
Me too. It's called Untapped.
So yeah, I'm still living in the. Maybe I'm too old here, but let's see. So what's my favorite beer? I think. Gosh.
You got 3 seconds.
Mash and maple grind.
1, 2, 3. Girl Grey.
Yeah, I really like mash and maple grind, and so I'm looking through all my comments right now as I make this.
In the meantime,
I'm pretty sure the Black Tuesday Reserve was amazing.
Ponce is getting a shout out right now. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. One of the best can designs ever. So shout out Ponce and the design team on that one.
So fun fact,
artist. Shout him out, dude.
Yeah. So fun fact on the offshoot side, obviously with the brewery having over 160 labels a year, I don't always work on all of them. So offshoot is one that we like to collaborate with either local artists or artists that are kind of wanting a beer can design and one that's kind of in the realm. So that artist is actually. I didn't design that label actually. So artist was in Denver. Really good buddy of mine. I'll put his Instagram handle in the chat for you guys to go check it out. He's a good artist, but his main focus is actually beer photography. So he does both photography and beer labels. So
cool, man. All right, so good answers. Let's. We're going to start wrapping this up. We're not done yet. Robert, thanks for joining. I'm going to kick you out and bring Riley back in. She just left her computer, but I'm going to bring her back in anyways. We're going to do a little bit of open forum. So ask questions. Remember that you have the true production manager, you have our quality manager, you have our design lead, you have the guy who runs all of our innovation. Ask questions. They have some real answers. Thanks again, Robert. We're going to send you off. We're going to bring you back in. Good to see you.
Thank you, dude.
Cheers, man.
Good to see you again on this day.
Cheers.
We salute you. Going back through the comments, there's a couple really cool ones in here. I got a bakery boysenberry crowler delivered today. That is fucking sick. And then you have someone else that's asking, can I still get this bakery boysenberry? Yes, we do have that beer in the tasting rooms, and we are doing local delivery on that one. So don't be shy. Oldest beer each of you have had. Good.
Oh, whoa.
I'll start. I think I had like a
Oldest brewery.
Is this oldest in the oldest brewery beer? Is this oldest beer you've had on the day of
oldest
opening
beer.
it? Or, yeah. Oldest beer in general?
That's easy.
Man. What is
Old.
it?
Wait, hold on. Yeah, there's some caveats in there.
I
Oldest.
had like the oldest beer I've
lineage
ever had. Oldest made beer I ever had was like, if anyone's ever been to the Stuffed Sandwich in San Gabriel, it's like an old school LA, like
Legendary. Yeah.
legendary, right? They have, or they used to have, like, I had like a 2006 celebration,
Oh shit.
and they just have them sitting there, and people don't know what they're sitting on. But that was probably the oldest I've had, I think. Keith's got
I got a good one. I got a really good one.
Oh,
Yeah, because this is older than pretty much everybody here.
it's
Oh,
like
you're gonna beat us out? Fucking.
No, I was like, dude, this
I got an old one.
I used to work at a brewery in Louisiana, Abita Brewing, and we had a 1991 Abita Antegator.
Damn.
That was the
91.
oldest beer I had.
You got me.
That was
I got you way beat.
that wasn't great. Well, I'm talking about relatively new. But anyway, yeah, it wasn't that good. It was very oxidized.
Bill, what about you?
Blanking on the name of it, but at a bottle share when I was living in Dallas, someone brought in I want to say it was like some sort of like, it was called like Silver Jubilee or something like that. It was a Bass produced, like Bass England produced stock ale that was made in 1903. And then the second oldest beer I've had was a lambic that was made in the 50s. So
Damn.
I was a ticker before I was a brewer, so I used to go to bottle shares like every single week.
I believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Damn,
So I've had some old beer, but yeah, I've had probably like 6 or 7 beers that are older than I am. So
That's crazy that you have like such a head start on that kind of shit.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
oldest
don't
is
know what the
like
oldest.
1900s.
What's the oldest beer in your cellar? Bell.
Mine? Probably early maybe 1996, I want to say, just off the top of my head, which would be the first year of Fuller's Vintage Ale.
Damn.
Which those things age really well. That's off the top of my head.
sick.
That's the oldest. Oh, there might be like a 90s Santa Claus somewhere in there, but
I've 2005 Double Bastard.
Oh, bring them in. Let's fucking open them.
So it's got the San Marcos location on it.
Just fucking bring them in, dude. Bring them in. Save the whales. We got Brian in the comments. Brian from Android Theory, the absolute man himself. Shout out. You've been here for every single one of these happy hour sessions. I don't get around to it, but dude, good to see you. Oldest for me is Dave, with my buddy Jacob right here, Jacob Greenwald. We hit Hair of the Dog, and we got a 1994 bottle of Dave, which at the time was the rarest beer in the world. We spent about $150 each for 2 ounces of it, which is disgusting. And the beer was disgusting. So the whole experience, I walked out of there feeling about as good as the beer tasted.
did it taste like the soy sauce bottle it was bottled in?
It tasted like soy sauce in an ashtray. What the fucking trip itself, man. I mean, like, who cares how the beer tasted? Anytime that you're staying in a room with your buddy and he farts so loud that he wakes himself up in the middle of the night and says, "What was that?" That's a good trip. That's a good trip.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, Hair of the Dog makes some amazing beers, but like a clear bottle from that long ago, I don't know.
All right, let's
Android Theory, baby.
Andrew and Keith, favorite beers to brew.
So you got to break this down to brew and ferment and make.
Yeah.
What's your
All three of those things are different.
favorite beer to, okay, we'll rephrase it. What's your favorite beer to create?
Mixed culture saison. as far as creation. I'd say.
Is there a particular one that you like creating?
I think it's the same thing. I think it's more of like a saison or a grisette. Grisettes are great. Mixed culture grisette.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to take it. For me, like, I like the unknown of making like a mixed culture saison that's just a little bit tart, and it's also something I like to drink. I like to brew something that is lower gravity because it's less of a pain in the ass. And then as far as like what I like to brainstorm, like when I'm conceiving an idea, it's something where I know the end picture that has like a lot of adjuncts in it, and then I have to reverse engineer how we make those flavor wise. So like the Imperial Cabinet to make it taste like a gin fizz, like that keeps me really engaged mentally. That's not my favorite beer to brew per se, but to think up these concepts where it's like I know what I'm trying to get, but I need to figure out how to get there. That keeps me really engaged. But brewing wise, like mixed culture saison or something like that. It's something that's lower gravity, tart, easy, but I don't know the end goal because the yeast and bacteria are going to take me to that final destination. That's what I like to actually make with my hands.
Yeah,
that's the best answer.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. It's like it's hard to. It's almost like saying like, what's your favorite beer to drink? It's kind of hard to answer that. Like it depends on the situation. It depends on like what's going on. It depends on what I'm trying to accomplish in my head. But I love pilsners, and I love brewing pilsners, but they're hard and harder to brew. You can really get dialed in on a pilsner and work on it for years. So that's not that much fun, but it is also my favorite. So I don't know. It's kind of hard.
It's a good answer. All right, I'm gonna do two questions. I'm gonna do one that's kind of playing off the second part of this question. Then I'm just gonna ask one for fun that's not really beer related. Then we're gonna do like 3 or 4 comment questions, and then we're gonna call it. We're so close to keeping this to an hour. Not really. Never mind. No.
No way.
Okay.
Maybe that's a quarantine hour. Quarantine hour is 2 hours. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, people don't dial in until 5 minutes in anyway.
Yeah. The second part of this question is favorite beer to drink. I don't want to do that, but this is actually a question that when we onboard new brewers, some of us go on and kind of talk about our departments, and we answer this question. But what was the beer that kind of got you into craft? So, like, it doesn't have to be your first craft beer, but what was the beer that you had and you were like, what the hell is this? Like, this is not what I was drinking in college when I was just like ripping through beers. Like, what is this? So, I mean, I'll start just to get the juices flowing because I already had the answer in my head. But I remember going to a bar near my apartment in college, and they had I think it was Downtown Brown from Lost Coast. And dude, it was so dark. It was so dark.
This is a dark ass story, dude. This is a dark story. This took a crazy turn. Yeah, hashtag quarantine hour for sure. Hashtag quarantine confessions.
Downtown Brown, man. That was it for me. That was where I was like, I need to drink stuff like this, and it sent me on this like weird journey in my life. Okay, Ryan.
Sorry, man. I'm not.
Mine's 21.
The first beer that made sense to me, I guess the first couple ones. So I found myself, like, as soon as I could find a fake ID, I found myself buying Sierra Nevada. I was a big Mirror Pond guy. I hear that a lot. It's just like bigger. I hated Newcastle for some reason, but I loved the Pale Ale. I love Mirror Pond. I love like big malty beers, but there was something about Newcastle that was just too nutty. I couldn't do it. The first time that I really felt that I was like nuts about craft beers was Stone Ruination. And it's even more embarrassing to say. Dude, Stone Ruination fucking changed my life. And then when Ruin 10 came out, I would just sit there and rip. I'd do 2 of those in a day, 2 bombers of that in a day. I don't know if I could fucking taste anything or not, but it didn't matter. I was just like
my same experience
every second of it. Yeah.
Keith, hit us.
Fuck me up, fam.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty funny. I was talking to a couple of guys that work for Sam Adams Brewing. It was literally 3 days ago. You know, we were having one of these video chats that you have during quarantine. I honestly haven't talked to these guys face to face in probably like 2 years, but one of these guys, I was talking to him, and it truly is the first craft beer that I ever had. Was a Sam Adams Boston Lager that I had at a.
Did we lose?
It's a now defunct craft bar in New Orleans, and it really when I first had it, it was actually my father-in-law that he gave it to me, and I was actually underage at the time. I don't think he really knew or really cared, but it was New Orleans, so whatever. But I had this Sam Adams Boston Lager, and it literally changed my whole thought process on beer. Like, it wasn't this like dry, crisp, super carbonated lager. I was just impressed with like the deep flavor, more of the aromatics from the hops, and it really changed my life. To be honest, it's kind of a weird statement, but it really did. It changed my life. It told me I wanted to get into brewing. Later that year, we actually homebrewed together. It was just my girlfriend's father at the time. But we homebrewed together, and that was the first time I ever homebrewed. And we made a Sam Adams Boston Lager clone, and that's what really got me into beer. Really got me into craft brewing, and that's the beer. So.
I kind of have a similar story. My first craft beer that I can remember is La Folie by New Belgium, and I remember just drinking. I remember drinking a lot of I don't know, Bud Light, whatever, in college, and I'm a microbiologist by trade, and I was like, what in the world went into this to make all these like tart, amazing flavors? And I looked into it and realized how interested I was in it, and yeah, so it kind of changed my life too. Plus, pharmaceutical research is not as interesting as being a microbiologist at a brewery sometimes. So
that fucking comment, that fucking one right there, Dragon's Milk. Also, remember trading for Dragon's Milk and blew my fucking mind. Blew my mind, dude. Like, yeah, that's a Dragon's Milk's another one. Hop Devil. Dude, the comments are so nuts right now. The comments are making me realize that I'm not actually thinking enough about the beer.
Is that Hop Devil or is it
pursue a career? Hot Debbie, and then a bunch of exclamation marks.
So the Dragon's Milk thing kind of reminds me of Ryan and I were at PDF last year, and they put out like all these new variants, and I hadn't had a Dragon's Milk in years,
dude.
And we were like, dude, let's go get in line. We got to try this.
Yeah. They're doing crazy shit. Banana cream pie. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, dude, that's like, what the hell? That's cool. No, the comments are nuts right now. Also, like, just scrolling through some of these, like.
Can you pull up one of Victor's comments real quick? I just want to see that picture that he has again, because I'm pretty sure I know.
National 12. He's drinking a Westie 12.
Yeah, well, no,
he's not even.
I'm pretty sure that was actually the tasting where we were trying to develop, Seven Swans recipe. We had that with a Roquefort 10 and a bunch of other ones, but maybe that's a different time.
That's amazing.
But it looks like it's the same table. My intro to people have probably heard this before. My intro to like really knowing that beer could be more than either fizzy yellow liquid or I don't know. Growing up, my dad always had like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Boston Lager, and Grolsch randomly in the fridge. So I was pretty familiar with those. But yeah, got a fake ID very early on in college, and to celebrate, we went to like. It was in Texas, so went to some high-end grocery store. I'm not going to say because I was using a fake ID. And St. Bernardus at the time had their gift pack, and it was 3 750s in a glass. Similarly, a little bit earlier on, I'd gotten into like bored and like Googled like best beer, and it pulled up rate beer. And so I printed out like these sheets earlier on, like how to like, score a beer or something. Like, and I think the first one I had was like Pacifico was like this goes well with fish tacos, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't understand why this is like a 2 something. Should be at least a 3.5. Anyway, 6 months later with fake ID, go get the stuff, and then cracked open Chimay Blue. Holy shit. What the fuck is this? Like, this is so different than everything else I've had. Yeah, Chimay Blue for sure with a fake ID, like, early on.
Awesome.
That completely changed everything for me. So.
Well, actually, I've never had fake ID, so I actually waited until I was 21 to drink beer. Shame on me, I know, probably. But
you did?
What? I just heard that. You what? I was gonna grab an unwind. I grabbed a Bright, but I want to crack this Bright, and I want to fucking hear this story, dude. What the
It was a week
fuck?
after I turned 21. Obviously, my 21st birthday, I was sticking to liquor. But about a week after my 21st birthday, I had all in one night. I just went to like the local Bevmo. I wanted to try some beers. Picked up what I kind of had like familiarity with. So I was with some friends that were a little bit older than me. I had Hangar 24 Orange Wheat. I got a bomber of that. I got a bomber of Stone IPA. And then a Stone Ruination. And then I had basically in that order. Didn't like Hangar 24 really that much. Even though I was in Riverside. So if you're in Southern California, you know how close I was to Redlands. Had Stone IPA and then Ruination I liked the best. Got drunk off that one bomber. And then a little bit more than just my flagship into like craft beer. I obviously a designer. I was about to graduate design school and I'm only a drive away from Escondido, and I actually applied to be a designer for Stone, and that's how I got into my beer design career, which is I used to design for Stone. Now I work for the brewery. But so Ruination.
Damn,
dude. All right, so
Ruination.
I have another question. This one's not related to beer. I'm actually stealing this from a podcast I listened to, and I thought it was pretty good. So,
who killed Carol Baskin's husband?
No, it's not that. It's not that. So we're all in shelter. What's the most like unusual thing, like not of your norm thing that you've done in the last 3 weeks?
What?
Because you're in shelter. So like for me, like what's the weirdest thing you've done for yourself? Like we watched.
Drink a bunch of beers on the balcony in my fucking neighborhood. Dude.
Let me give you an example. Like we watched 5 seasons of Better Call Saul in 8 days.
I could top that.
So that's a lot of TV,
dude. That's
kind of mine. Where like I'm just sitting there on the weekends watching TV on my couch. Ryan, what are you doing? That's out of your ordinary.
Damn. I was gonna say the crazy. Out of the ordinary, the craziest thing that I've done in the last 3 weeks is drive to all of these beautiful people's houses, not all of them, but a lot of them, and deliver beers to them and drop them off in a way that they don't have to touch me or look at me really. And Carol Baskin fucking did it. Carol fucking Baskin, you know, it's cool, dude. I shouldn't have even brought it up. Carol Baskin is a garbage person. But yeah, the craziest thing that I've done, money heist. Good Lord. The craziest thing I've done in the last couple of weeks is make sure that these beautiful people have beers and that I get a chance to see them out in their fucking house. There's probably 1 or 2 people that are going to say that's a cop-out answer, and that's cool. I got a second one queued up right here, so let me just fucking pull that out. All right, here it is. I have had a significant amount of mail stolen from me recently, so I have been working with my Ring doorbell and the Anaheim Police Department. There was another neighbor that noticed on their doorbell camera that I had a package stolen. So they had reached out to the police department for me. So I have a meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. with the one of the sergeants on the Anaheim Police Department. So that's pretty out of character for myself. It's a weird time. Hey, if does anyone want to guess what got fucking stolen from me? I've been making a lot of burgers at home, and I ordered a new spatula. And it's just a long, flat stainless steel spatula, perfect for making smash burgers.
That's 5. You gave us 5 weird things.
I'm chasing down a spatula. That's the weirdest thing I've done in the last 3 weeks.
My wife and I have you covered on spatulas. We got plenty. You know.
Is that to me now? Is that
Yeah, it's all you.
The weirdest
Yeah,
thing,
pass it. Someone pass it, dude. This is terrible.
the weirdest thing I've done is go to a Walmart neighborhood market.
That's weird.
And I typically go to Northgate, and I go early in the morning. But they started doing this thing in Northgate where they only open the first hour to like senior citizens, which is great. I mean, honestly, it's a good thing. It's great for senior citizens that need to actually go to shop that they can't get anything. So I was forced to go to a Walmart neighborhood, and they actually had toilet paper, and they had a pile of it. They had a fucking pallet of it there, and I walk in, and I'm just like, nobody sees this goddamn pallet of toilet paper,
Dude.
I'm like, so I bought a pack of toilet paper, and I know it's fucking weird right now, but it seems super strange to me to see a pallet of toilet paper just sitting in the middle of the floor with nobody going crazy around it.
Beach and Westminster, in Huntington Beach / Westminster, there are pallets of it. Oh my God! You just gotta leave your neighborhood. Yeah, just leave your neighborhood, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Noted.
Super easy to get the toilet paper. If you go by the brewery, go to the Walmart at Anaheim and Catella, and they got pallets of fucking toilet paper.
Good.
That's the weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing that's happened to me. Is like,
what about you, Riley? She's got the craziest one.
I'm looking at it now. The craziest thing that I've done is I've taped a beer to my Roomba's head. So
it's like DJ Roomba, but like
you guys
bartender Roomba.
I forgot that video existed.
Yeah, he taped a bright to his head. I'll show him. His name's Rico.
Nice.
He doesn't get
bright,
stuck on the couch anymore, and it works. So,
It works.
So we've been really creative.
All right, Ponce.
Oh, my husband just said not me. I've been creative. So.
I've binge watched a lot of guilty pleasure shows. I blame my girlfriend for it, but I recently have gone through all 5 or 6 seasons of Jersey Shore, not by choice. I was.
Don't be ashamed. I like that show.
It's just like trying to laugh with everything that's going on with the whole COVID thing, but I got drunk for the majority of it. But also, I've never gone on so many outdoor walks in my neighborhood. I've picked up on certain things around my neighborhood just to get out of the house a little bit. But yeah, guilty pleasure binge watching and a lot of outdoor walks.
All right, who's last? Is it
Blakes?
Yeah.
All right,
I've been missing the
stop it all.
Yeah, I've been missing the gym. Like the weekend after the gyms closed down, I usually go like 4 or 5 days a week. Humble brag. I made the stupid mistake of like.
You've been missing it for 4 years, Dick.
I decided I could do like 500 push-ups in one day, and I couldn't feel my arms the rest of like 10 days after that. Like 500 push-ups kill you. Like my lats were so fucked up. And then I've been running, which I haven't really done like running like 3 of these people around here. I haven't done that in like ever. So I've been running more, and then I think the same weekend I did the push-up disaster. I ran like 7 miles having not run, or 6 miles having not run like at all before that, and it was so my legs are sore, my lats are sore, but I still feel out of shape and not normal.
It's like lats are in your lower back, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm used to doing bench press. I'm not used to doing push-ups. Like there is actually a difference in your body. Like, yeah, and I don't know. I'm missing muscles, and then I'm running, but I have too much like upper body weight, so my legs get fucked. Like it's horrible. It's horrible.
I've been lifting paint buckets that I found in my garage as weights because Amazon won't deliver my dumbbells in time. So
just paint,
Andrew.
Just paint.
Jesus, Keith, you that far through?
What color is the paint? What color is the paint?
Like white and like off like eggshell. It's from
Eggshell,
I'm
yeah.
renting, so they're not. It's not my paint. It's whoever the landlord is. But yeah, no, I've dropped a lot of weight in the month that we've been doing this, which sucks.
You look hotter since I've sat next to you in the last couple months.
Hey, so we're
I'm trying to get a good look at you. Yeah, moving right on. Yeah,
Let's not do that.
Okay, so I think we're gonna do 4 more questions. I'm kind of shifting through them right now. So here's the first one I want to answer. This one doesn't count.
Ooh, Terrence.
It doesn't
What
count.
about Terrence? That doesn't count. But just tell him the truth. No, Terrence, we're ripping, dude.
Yeah, we're not doing a happy hour on Thursday, but if you join us next Thursday, so the Thursday after this, we're gonna have a pretty collaborative person on with us. She's a chef. We made a beer with her before. That's all I'll give you. You might learn more if you read your emails. Read your emails, people.
Is she at the
You
top?
might be 100% sure. Yeah, you might be 100% sure if you had a membership last year.
I don't know, but yeah, we're gonna have something fun that week. All right, let's keep going. Terrence is asking.
Load him up, dude. Load him up. Load him up.
Here's a good one. Is there a 13th day coming?
So, 100%. Yeah, 100%. You know how I know? Check this out. All right.
It's in 6 days. 6 days.
Let's
So
start.
you go on. You open up the calendar on your iPhone, and you go. I know it's hard to see this. You just go to the. You go to the 13th. Oh, it's just a bright white screen. Just go to the 13th, dude. Is there a 13th? Yes. I found it on my calendar.
But
Next question.
I think we should.
So to answer it seriously, so maybe Belle, you want to start? Give us a little history of like what is the 12 days series? I mean,
we're talking about the 12 days, not like days of the week.
I agreed with Bill. Like I thought he was talking about the Black Tuesday variant.
No, I think
yeah.
about the 12 days.
We're up to 13 days, dude.
Yeah, I was like,
I mean, I don't know how far I should go with this answer, but we are working on things. So yeah, no, just basically, yeah, we've gotten to 12 drummers drumming. We've rebrewed all of those as a box, obviously, this last year. Those beers are also aging in barrels for a 12 days box. And then, I don't know, Daniel, tell me if I go forward on this, right? Yeah?
I would say it might not be this series is going to continue. Let's say that.
Yes, yeah. I'm working on a couple concepts on the pilot system with the rest of the innovation team. We're going to be doing new beers. It won't be necessarily a 13, but there will be new beers. So I guess that's probably as far as you want me to go right now. We're working on it.
It's not over.
We're working on it right now. We have some concepts going. But
It's called
there'll
first
be new stuff.
two.
Here's a good one.
Yeah, there'll be new stuff.
Here's a good one we can all answer. And it doesn't have to be beer related.
Yeah, Ben.
Has anyone learned a new skill or revisited an old hobby during the shutdown? I'll start.
Reading. Do not say fucking reading. That doesn't count. If you have time to read, that's fucking beautiful.
I wasn't saying.
Dude,
I was going to say reading, but
let's avoid reading. Let's avoid reading. Like, yeah, it's a rule. Oh, let's avoid reading. That's too easy.
Reading?
Personally, I've been cooking a lot, and
Yeah.
I'm not good at it. But I ask Andrew Bell for tips daily, and he sends me all his tips, so I'm getting better. And we're cooking a lot, so that's my thing. Ryan, what are you doing, man?
I was gonna say, reading doesn't fucking count because I have been blown away at how much more interested I've been in reading, even just the simplest shit. Whether it's a George Motes book or not, that's fine. But yeah, reading, cooking, basically everything that comes to being a fucking adult and being a little bit more self-sufficient. I had a stitch that came undone in a shirt the other day, so I sewed it back up. I feel like I'm doing pretty well considering everything going on, dude. Yeah, I'm loving it. I really am.
so I think for me, one thing I've kind of revisited is honestly like conversation skills and like calling people that I haven't talked to in a while. You know, I mean, it's been, you know, there's a lot of people I talk to, and like I said this earlier when I talked to some guys from Sam Adams, but honestly I talked to a lot of people in the past like 2 weeks that I haven't talked to in years. You know, just checking in, just seeing how they're doing. I know, like, you know, everybody knows a lot of people with some like older people in their family, and honestly I'm just checking in. I think, I mean, I hate to bring up like the COVID-19 shit, but like, you know, I have a lot of family in Louisiana, and their deaths per million is pretty fucking high up there. So I'm really checking in on a lot of people that have some family that are in the aging population, and
Sure.
I think just bringing up conversation skills is pretty important right now, because you have to just call them out of the blue and talk to them, and I'm truly interested in their lives and truly interested in how their family's doing, but you have to talk to them for a lot of reasons. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all finding that we all know someone that's seemingly high risk, and it just makes it so much more important to make sure that we keep that connection up. And yeah, picking up the phone, FaceTime. How crazy is it that we are video chatting right now from home? Like, it's amazing. We have this amazing technology, you know. So if you miss someone, call them up, dude. See what they look like. Yeah, see. It's amazing.
Riley,
Alex,
Riley.
Oh, Riley's up.
Oh, yeah. I need to get better at calling people up. But I've been doing a lot of drawing and watercolor.
Prove it.
Can you show us any?
Prove it.
Yeah, pull something up. Ponce,
Pull it up. Yeah, pull
it up. Alex, tell us what you got going on.
I've actually
trimming his beard with his hands.
No, I've been trying to focus on, actually, I mean, it's something that's like a lot. Whoa, that's really impressive. Holy crap.
Whoa. Dude, that's a label, right? Fuck.
Pretty good.
Yeah, kick Alex off.
We got a new designer.
Riley, scan that in. Let's make that into a label.
I know the next two offshoot labels.
Ripping with
Not
Riley.
names yet, but we got pictures.
But what I've been trying to focus on lately, and it's easy, but like I haven't really been doing a good job of it, just because I found out that I'm not very good at it, is actually like proper breathing and like trying to like meditate a little bit. With everything going on, I've kind of gotten a little anxious and had some anxiety with everything, but not to be turn this negative, but just trying to meditate a little bit more and start like actually controlling my breathing and everything. So I know that's little, but I think it goes a long way.
So not negative seeming to me. It's like a human thing.
Yeah. So I've been trying to focus on that.
You know, we all, I think a lot of us have someone that like you really want to see, but you can't for this fear of the safety of that person. So
yeah.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. It's I feel like this whole thing has added like a whole new level of consciousness to everything, where you not only have to be hyper aware of what you're doing, but it's just every single person that you may have an interaction with that day, making sure that you're doing everything you can to make sure you're as protected as possible. For sure. It's just crazy. It's crazy how much our lives have changed in the last couple of weeks, and we have all these positive, things to show for it, dude. It's fantastic. Yeah, Chris, there we go, dude. Slow it down. Give yourself a minute a day, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is.
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
Beautiful.
I didn't find a good one in there, so I'm just going to kick it to Ryan, and he's going to make one up. Ryan, what's
oh my God. Oh, all right. Yeah. What is Wow. Who? Here's a really good one, actually. Kind of piggybacking off of what I just had.
I'll decide that.
Who? And yeah, we're talking about I'm just talking about the 5 folks that are right here, but I would love to see everyone commenting in on the comments. Just make this like a superhuman thing, not superhuman like I'm gonna lift this fucking car off of this person that flipped it over, but I'm talking superhuman in the sense that let's actually get in tune with our emotions and figure out what the fuck is going on here. Who do you guys miss the most during all of this? What do you miss the most? Who do you miss the most? Obviously, we're in a pretty crazy. Yeah, we're in a pretty crazy.
Just so I can
right
run
now.
the bathroom real quick too. Two things. I miss hanging out with coworkers, grabbing a beer after work, that communal thing, and then also my parents are both over the age of 65, and despite my dad being one of those people who's like, I'm going to go to the grocery store, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. He's like, do you want to come up for dinner? I'm like, no, we can't come up for dinner. So I miss my parents, and then I miss hanging out and grabbing beers with my coworkers. I just want to go first because I need to run to the restroom, and I will be right back.
Run. Hey, run those little jewels. I feel you, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's really easy to focus on yourself in this time, but it's the same thing where, like, both of my parents, as much as I would love to go and see my parents, it's been since end of January, no insight really. And it's the same thing, having people that are high risk around you. It's just really realizing that we're in this position, not for, not for me or necessarily for Keith or for Andrew Bell, but just for the greater good. So, man, I really miss all those day-to-day interactions, but it's the same thing. I miss my parents. What about you, Alex?
For sure. I've missed my mom a lot during this time. She's not that far from me physically, but she's one of my best friends, and I think I would love to see her soon. Hopefully this wraps up soon. But I think obviously that being on the more deeper personal side, I just miss hanging out with everyone at the brewery, seeing your guys' faces. I know I'm seeing them right now, but virtually. But I think having
it's not the same, dude.
Walking into Daniel's office, walking over to Riley to ask what ABV is a certain beer. Whenever I have a meeting at Taru, walking into Keith's office and saying what's up. But yeah, those little interactions makes make working at the brewery all much better. So.
Man, what about that feeling of just sitting at your desk and you hear me just crack a can open and your fucking ears perk up?
Oh,
stand up like a prairie dog. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
I
think it's cool that there's everyone's still able to get their work done, but there's something to be said about having that communal space, that common space where everything anyone else does just affects the rest of your day, and whether it's good or bad, mostly almost every time good. Daniel, what about you?
Oh, dude, I think.
Yeah, you have another puppy, so you're like got plenty of love in your house right now.
I have a lot of love, but I think I miss family. I miss seeing my parents. My parents are both retired, so they've like parked in front of my house and stood away for like 20 minutes, but like it's different. So I've seen them. I miss them. I think kind of similar to Alex. So like I just miss. I mean, we're all colleagues. We all work together, but like honestly, just like grabbing a beer after work, like we all work pretty hard, and just being able to go to the tasting room and say what's up to the society team, the tasting room team, Riley, Keith, Darren, Jeremy. Like it's different. So I miss that. Yeah, I miss Keith, Riley, Ryan. Yeah, it's just different. So. Yeah, I miss hanging out with colleagues, miss family, just being with people.
It's pretty cool though that we have the technology that we're able once a week to meet and do this though, right? Like this is relatively shitty considering the circumstances, but I feel like given the cards that we're dealt, this is so fucking great. This is fun, dude. It's so cool to see all of your faces. It's so cool to see so many different people, whether we're physically seeing them or not. Terrence, you have missed time. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Like everyone is going through it themselves, but I think it's so cool that we now have the technology to do this stuff. Can you imagine 500 years ago and we're just sitting in like a cave? And it's like, oh, I think you shouldn't go out there. Like, what? This is awesome. Yeah, it's the best part about all of this is looking forward to this every week. Taste some beers, see some friends, answer some questions.
Yeah, I think I miss like I miss having my guys super like focused and enjoying work, and like everyone in this world is like they're just focused on the coronavirus and like my guys, they're not any different. I mean, everybody at the brewery everybody in the world right now is preoccupied with this whole coronavirus, and my guy, I have a great group of guys at Taru, man. They're fucking fantastic, and I really couldn't ask for better guys. But they also worry, man. They worry about their family. They worry about their friends. And it's hard to see them come in and be concerned. It's hard, So I miss the normalcy of making beer, Like I mean,
yeah, but you're gonna go in. You're going in tomorrow, and you're gonna tell them how well this went and how many people missed them and miss seeing their faces and love the beers.
They know that. And,
yeah, dude. They know. Like, yeah.
They know. They love.
It's not all bad.
They
it's
love
not all
making beer.
bad.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We could be doing a lot of worse things. We're making beer, and we love it. And it's an awesome time to be alive. To be able to make beer as an essential employee, I fucking love it. I'm serious. Like I will continue to make beer as long as I live. I don't know of another job, so
I'll drink those beers as long as I do.
On that note,
is that all of us? All of our answers? I feel like that's a really I feel like that's a good way to kind of close it. Fuck. We all had a right, Riley.
So I really miss my dad and my brothers are in Kansas City, and I was going to go visit them this month actually, but my brother Ben's watching right now, so hey. But
hey,
come in, man.
Hey, yeah, call him next week. VIP.
Ben, what's your nickname? What's your nickname for Riley?
Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments, please. Put it in the comments.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Y'all know Riley's all. Let's wrap it up. But no, seriously, like I think it's so cool that in this crazy ass time, I think you're really getting to see that. It's a good reminder that we all are superhuman. We're not even humans. We're fucking superhumans, not superheroes. We're superhuman, baby. But I think that it's so cool to see that we all have the same shit. We all miss the same people. We all just want the same kind of things, So as long as we got good beers, I think that's half of it. Stay inside, wash your fucking hands. Like, what else do we need?
I want a normal fucking tasting room. Like, I want to be able to have beers with some goddamn society members.
Sure.
Like, where's old Bob? Where's Bob in this whole thing?
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I love Bob.
What about being able to get the nitro beers, which we can't do crowlers of?
Man, like, what?
Sure.
When we're drinking some Cloakroom right now. I got another nitro beer in the bread tank that won't be served for a couple months.
For an unrelated project, actually had to ask the tasting room staff what their favorite beer was, and had multiple people comment that it was Cloakroom. And so it's fucked. We can't even sell that.
Shout out to Stefan, dude.
Shout out to Stefan. Shout out to Cloakroom. Shout out to Guinness. Shout out to the tasting rooms. Shout out to Taking Care of Yourself coming back. Daniel, what do you have to close us out with, baby?
Yeah, I think this is officially the longest happy hour we've done now. So this is 2 hours and 10 minutes.
About 7 minutes longer.
Happy hours. I'm gonna play this video that we spent probably way too much time making, and then you're not gonna see our faces anymore.
Is it between two barrels?
Oh, dude, that's gonna happen. Good to see everybody. We'll see you next week. We'll see you on Thursday. Special guest.